I feel I am being rushed into making a decision by my realtor. Am I being unreasonable? So I have just got an inspection report back on the house. It showed that the roof was original, and about 27 years old on a 30-year roof. It also showed that the furnace is over its manufactured date, but still works. There were also missing smokes, some missing CFCs, and rodent damage. Those were the only things in the report. My agent said that I don't have a leg to stand on to negotiate with the roof and furnace because they are still working. That and the CFCs are cheap and easy to fix. Her advice was to just ask for them to resolve the CFCs and the rodent issue. I talked with another real estate agent who I know as a friend in another state, and they seemed to think that $20,000 credit would be totally reasonable with the age of the furnace and the roof. I am just a little confused, having two different opinions, and want to know what you all think. Thank you for any advice you can give. Rodent damage is pretty vague. What's going on with that? I mean, he's not wrong in that if the furnace is still working and there were no defects on the roof, they have every right to say no and move on. Just it's old in itself doesn't mean it has to be replaced today. They don't owe you brand new stuff. But it's your decision on what to ask for. Not his. Were the ages of the roof and furnace on the disclosures? If they function as intended, age isn't a defect. Most realtors factor in issues with their listing price and will say something along those lines. A house with visible disclosed older outdated items is not going to go for top dollar. You can ask them to take money off or fix something, but they don't have to do either. The general rule is that if things are working, you absolutely can't say much about it. No one knows how long something won't last. Sometimes even new things break. Pay for a HVAC, plumbing and roof inspection. Cheap and at least will answer your questions. As a seller, I would give you $0 credit for roof and furnace. Never hurts to ask, but be ready for a no. My furnace is 40-something years old. If you have a run of outlets, just the first in the chain needs to be GFCI, the rest will be after that. So they may have missed a GFI outlet under a sink or behind a fridge or something. The roof, ask for a small credit, worst they can say is no. Rodent and rodent damage. Ask for a credit or ask for a best service come later apps, or ask for credit. If they say no, they say no. Lol. The price of the house reflects the is not a fund, my dream home fund. I told mine, they still bought. Mofos had the balls to ask for a reduction of $25,000 to put solar on, smiley face, they were trippin'. Depends on your contract timelines, and if you already knew or should have asked the age of those items before opening negotiations. If you wanted to negotiate like that, you should have been buying in year 2010, 2012. Unless the seller thinks no one else will buy the house, they don't have any justification to give that kind of credit. I don't think a $20,000 credit is reasonable at all. Your systems are old, but they work. You'll have to improve them over time anyway. It's not the seller's job to fix things that aren't broken and to make your house perfect. Your inspection is a snapshot into the condition of the house that day and should be treated as an instruction manual on how to operate your home for your first few years there. It all depends on the market where you are. If homes are still selling over list price with multiple offers in contention, then your realtor is probably right. Not a leg to stand on is pretty strong. You can always try to negotiate, but understand that you may lose the house. Weigh all options. Maybe splitting the cost of major repairs would be fair to ask for. Buying and selling real estate is all about the give and take. Everyone wants to feel like they got a fair deal. I would say this depends on how hot your e-market is. Another piece of information you left out is how this offer price is compared to other local properties. Is it higher than comps or lower? Maybe that stuff was priced in somewhat. I'm the end, the realtor works for you. They can offer advice, but if you want to ask for a discount, you can. I don't see the harm in asking and seeing what the seller responds. Unless you're in a hot market, they might just go to the next offer. Everything in real estate is negotiable. If you don't ask, you don't get. What's the worst that could happen when you ask for a credit? The seller will say no, and then you go from there. Every market's different. If a new or AMKIT inspections are most often waived, then doubtful you will get much. Furnace and roof works, so seller probably believes you accounted for them being old in his price. Where your friend is, there might be that room to get $. Where I am located, they would laugh and tell you to pound sand. Your realtor sounds weary of people trying to use inspection as a negotiating tool unreasonably. They may be getting the sense you are not serious. Doesn't matter. You do you. Offer what you want, and be satisfied with your deal. It's your money. It's possible to be hard-nosed and rational and polite all at the same time. If you want a new house, buy a new house. It's as simple as this. You have the right to bid whatever you feel is reasonable, and the vendor has every right to decline and move on. Your agent's advice isn't unreasonable, and they want to close the deal. No shot you're getting a $20,000 credit unless the houses are absolutely stale in your market. I'd let bygones be bygones and ask for $5,000 concession. Save it for a future roof repair. It's gonna happen. Furnaces are hit or miss. It can last forever and it can die tomorrow. Really depends on whether or not you take care of it. Where I work, things that are observable before placing an offer is considered part of the value negotiated, being patent in nature. Anything that can't reasonably be detected while seeing the house is latent and should abate price. So if I was selling a house with a 30-year roof and furnace, I'd be pissed if someone brought it up after an inspection, and if I was a buyer, I'd be pissed that my agent didn't point these things out on the showing. When we bought our first house, we had a similar inspection. Realtor said not to push it. I did. We got seller to give a credit at closing for half the cost of roof, furnace, AC, and water heater. I replaced the roof a couple years later, then ended up selling to move out of state. Doesn't hurt to ask. Just need to decide if it's a deal breaker to you or not. My take as a realtor: the price on a home, both asking price and offered price, are supposed to be done based on condition and age. When you did a walkthrough before offering, you should have looked at the roof and furnace and water heater and said, oh, these are 30 years old, I better make my offer based on that. Now my take on inspections are health and safety only. If the furnace was found to be emitting carbon dioxide into the home from a cracked heat exchanger during the inspection, it's fair game, or the bad gfs is ect. Asking for a roof and furnace now is too late. We bought a house in 2020 and accepted the fact that the roof and air conditioner, while still functioning, were near the end of their lifespan. We did ask for upgrade to GFC and some minor plumbing issue. Now, that was also a time when buyers had more leverage in asking for repairs. This is going to be one of the most consequential investments you ever make. You have every right to take your time to think about it and not be rushed. If you feel your real estate agent is pressuring you, they're more concerned with their commission than they are with you. Home inspections show you loose threads. Keep pulling until you buy the house or until you destroy the sweater. A roof inspection from a licensed roofer will give you a dollar figure for repairs needed or replacement costs if needed. Get that report and ask sellers to credit the costs suggested. Simple. Can't hurt to ask. Sellers will either accept, negotiate, or reject your request for a credit. Roof inspection might be free or $100 or something. Worth it to try. Do the same with an HVAC company. This is simple. I bought in 2022 and had the seller replace the water heater and install GFC outlets where required by current code. Since they already accepted your offer, in most cases they don't want to restart the process with another buyer. I don't believe it hurts to ask. My understanding is they can say no, but couldn't back out due to you asking. Your friend is 100 right.